The phone dinged, showing that Liam transferred 50,000 yuan to me. I stared blankly at the phone. The first thing that came to mind was that fraud over 3,000 yuan could be filed as a case. After only hesitating for a few seconds, the phone rang again. Why don't you accept it? I rubbed my nose and swore softly. What stupid rich people. I've never seen anyone so eager to give away money. In less than a minute, the phone rang twice more. Oliver and James also transferred money one after another. There was no other reason. I had just sent a cute JK outfit to 3 people at the same time. Brother, do you think this set looks good? The same lines, the same picture. This JK outfit cost several hundred yuan in total, but I didn't expect them to transfer so much. I pulled up one of their profiles and my finger hovered over the red delete button. If I were caught cheating them, I'd be in big trouble. After all, I've been leading them on for so long. I shivered involuntarily. My mind was suddenly divided into 2 camps. Little angel, delete them now before you accept their money. Once they call the police, it's no joke. Little devil, what are you panicking about? They don't care about these tens of thousands of yuan. Moreover, they look down on people. Who else can this money go to? My left and right brains struggled with each other for a long time. Suddenly, barges popped up in midair. The poor thing is so scared that he's trembling. I'm really feeling sorry for him. After the baby deletes these 3 dogmen, he'll be blocked in the dormitory. The little flower will turn into mush. Or hiss. They don't even know that the poor girl's been stringing the 3 of them along. I can't even imagine what would happen if she were to expose this whole situation. I perked up. Are they talking about me? When I wanted to take a closer look, those barges disappeared again. Will I be discovered after deleting them? Scared, I quickly exited the deletion interface. The phone vibrated once. James sent another message under the transfer. Voluntary gift. I wanted to think about it, but my hands were faster than my brain. By the time I realized it, I had already received James' money. Thank you, brother. You're so kind. On one hand, I envied James for being able to send so much money casually. On the other hand, I murmured and cursed in my heart. After mimicking voluntary gift in a sarcastic tone, I rolled my eyes. So what if he's rich? He's still being tricked by me. I'm not only going to trick him, but also trick a lot more. After happily collecting the money, the 3 guys in the dormitory came back one after another. I hugged my phone and tried to shrink into the corner. The first one to come in was James. Having just come back from playing basketball and being covered in sweat, he went straight into the bathroom. When Oliver came in, he didn't even give me a single look. I couldn't help but murmur in my heart, what a good pretender. As if he noticed me looking at him, his cold and sharp gaze landed directly on me. Just for a second, then he glanced away in disgust. It was as if even looking at me once would make him feel dirty. Without saying a word, I was so scared that I quickly turned my head back. I held my phone tightly. I subconsciously looked at my short-sleeved shirt that had been washed until it turned white. The short-sleeved shirt that had been laughed at. Well, what does he know? I call this being thrifty. I skillfully comforted myself. Even though he wears clothes worth tens of thousands, he's still being played around by me who wears a short-sleeved shirt that costs just a dozen yuan. I quietly sat up on the bed, pulled aside the curtain, and checked the situation downstairs. It wasn't time to turn off the lights yet. All 3 of them were sitting downstairs. I didn't dare to send messages to them at the same time for fear of being discovered. I opened the post about online dating tutorials. Not very skillfully put on a little skirt, found a good angle, and prepared to take a photo. The dormitory bed has been used for many years. If you move a little too much, there will be a harsh sound. James, who was in the next bed, sat on the chair and impatiently clicked his tongue. Matthew, what are you fidgeting about? If you're itchy, go take a few more showers. I was stunned and didn't dare to speak. The bullet comments appeared again. This kid really has a venomous tongue. I'm waiting for the scene where he tries to win his wife back. I just love this kind of plot. The louder he shouts now, the louder he'll cry later when he finds out his wife isn't only his. James really has a very venomous mouth. The first thing I do every morning when I open my eyes is to pray that he'll poison himself when he licks his lips. I resentfully sent the photo to James using my small account. Brother, do you think it looks good? I'm planning to go out with friends tomorrow. James, who had been speaking rudely to me just a second ago, had already started to transfer money skillfully. Baby, you're so beautiful. You can buy a few more little skirts to wear for your husband to see. The other party has transferred 50,000 yuan to you. After the transfer, he sent several pictures. They were all some maid costumes, black stockings and so on. I sneered. He's already calling himself husband. How shameless. But he quickly took a screenshot with his hands. These are all things to save my life in the future. James was chatting on the computer. The mechanical keyboard with blue switches was clattering loudly. Oliver frowned while reading the literature and his voice was unpleasant. Keep it down. Liam, however, looked like he understood everything, seeing that there was no game interface on his computer. Did you find a girlfriend? James released the keyboard, exited QQ, and let out a soft laugh. A little thing. Liam was delighted when he heard that. You really know how to have fun. What kind of person can make you chat like this? Let me have a look. He said this casually, but I was lying in bed, not daring to breathe loudly. I don't know if I was scared or angry. My heart was pounding, feeling like it was about to jump out of my mouth. I was stunned with fear. I can't imagine that if Liam saw it, I might not see the sun tomorrow. James' voice turned a bit colder and he didn't want to show it to Liam. What's there to see about a little thing? Liam swiped his phone a few times as if waiting for some message. He also said casually, "Bah, who wants to look?" Listening to their conversation, I've cursed James a million times in my heart. James, you bastard, you bastard, you bastard. How shameless. In the chat history, he keeps calling the other person baby, and even refers to himself as husband, but when others ask, he just says it's a little thing. He really thinks he's a domineering CEO. How shameless. I sat there stupidly on the bed, listening to their voices. The phone slid under my butt and was being pressed. I don't know when I turned on the ringer. Liam didn't know what kind of stimulus he had received, and he sent me several messages in a row. What are you doing? Why don't you reply to my messages? I don't really want to chat with you. I'm just asking casually. Are you there? If you don't reply to my messages, don't come to me in the future. Did you just reel me in and then ignore me? Did you go out fooling around? A series of dings came from under my butt. Due to the pressure between my butt and the bedboard, the phone also made a buzzing vibration sound. The three people under the bed rarely looked at me in unison. Liam looked at my bed and sent another message on his phone. I quickly and clumsily turned on the mute mode, and this time there was no more noise. James casually and impatiently knocked on my bed. The iron railing around the bed was knocked, making a thumping sound. What are you doing up there? Are you sneaking around doing something shady again? The words sneaking around made me think of the incident before when I was wrongly accused of stealing James' watch. It was not long after the start of the freshman year back then. I originally planned to get along well with them. After all, we were in the same dormitory. But after busying myself like a sycophant for a few days, I was gossiped about by James behind my back. Brother Yen, didn't you go looking for your watch after it was lost? James had a cigarette in his mouth. The boy was about to help light it, but was waved away, just holding it for fun. I was squatting in an empty classroom not far away listening. Although it was a bit fuzzy, I still heard James vaguely mention my name. That Matthew in our dormitory. This incomplete sentence gave me a shock. After thinking about it for a while, I realized that James must have thought I was the one who stole it. But the one who makes the claim should provide the evidence. I ran away with my books in my arms, full of anger. After running back to the dormitory, I fantasized about countless scenarios in my mind. Once they said I was the thief, I would stand on the stool, stand tall, and point at their noses scolding them. You say I stole it, then show me the evidence. I kept thinking about that glorious moment in my head and then felt satisfied. But in the end, no one brought this matter up. James tapped a few times. Seeing that I didn't move, he stood up and lifted my bed curtain. I'm still wearing a skirt. In a hurry, I quickly covered myself with the quilt. The bed curtain was lifted, and the two people sitting below could clearly see the situation on the bed. The weather wasn't very cool, and soon I was so covered that my face turned red. James pointed at me and said, "You're not?" I wriggled backward, not noticing that James was staring straight at me. He even reached out his hand to lift my quilt. I really can't let him see the skirt I'm wearing. I quickly reached out and grabbed him. The temperature was a bit high, and there was a little sweat in my palm, making it damp and warm. James suddenly thought of something. He quickly shook off my hand in disgust and took several steps back. My hand hit the iron railing with a thud. I gritted my teeth in pain. But James' face was as gloomy as if water could drip from it. I knew what he was going to say even without him opening his mouth. He must be saying that I'm disgusting. It's all Liam's fault for sending that message. It's James who's disgusting. He's the most disgusting one of all. James, go die, go die, go die. The three of them stared at me for quite a while. What are you staring at? With red-rimmed eyes. I reached out and pulled the bed curtain shut. Not long after, the lights went out, and my emotions gradually calmed down. I lay on the bed and did a post-mortem. It's called a post-mortem, but actually it's just my grudge list. Liam sent that message today and almost got me caught. Die! James looked at me like I was trash and even called me a thing. Go die, go die! As for Oliver, he's no good either. He's even more pretentious than the other two. Pretentious guy. Halfway through my post-mortem, Oliver sent me a question mark. I clicked to check and found that it was because I forgot to say thank you to him after receiving the money this afternoon. I typed expressionlessly, I was too busy just now and forgot to thank you. Brother. Brother is the best. I love you. Obviously, Oliver is much harder to deceive than the other two. What's going on? You haven't looked at your phone all this time. Are you still leading others on? I pursed my lips and quickly typed, no, I'm only chatting with you, brother. I had a little unpleasantness with my roommate this afternoon and didn't have time to look at my phone. The messages I sent were half true and half false. Believe it or not, I logged out of my secondary account. I started browsing shopping apps. I bought a few short-sleeved shirts. I'm going to deposit the remaining money in the bank. This way of getting money is really addictive, but what I got is purely compensation for mental distress. After all, it takes a lot of courage to live with 3 inhumane roommates. I previously found a really good part-time job, a waiter at private banquets. It pays $4,000 a month without accommodation and meals. Moreover, you don't have to go every day. There's a rotation system. Having a stable job makes you walk with your back straight. I had no classes this afternoon. There was no one in the dormitory. After a happy nap, I went to work full of energy. When I arrived at the place, I changed into my work uniform. The manager said that the business was very good today, but there was a private room for a big client, and we needed to pay extra attention. I quickly hugged the thick menu, knocked on the door, and went in. As soon as I entered the door, I found that Oliver, Liam, and James were all there, and there were also several classmates from my class. It should be a gathering. I was extremely glad that I wore a mask and a hat. I lowered my head and deliberately lowered my voice. Here is the menu. What would you like to eat? I asked an unfamiliar classmate with the menu in my hand. That classmate smiled awkwardly and pointed at Oliver with his finger, signaling that he was the one treating. Under the mask, I grimaced and cursed countless times in my heart. Is it great to be rich? Can't the street stalls satisfy you? You still come to this kind of place. Really love to show off. I carried the menu and walked around, then walked to Oliver's side. What would you like to order? As soon as I spoke, Oliver looked at me. I didn't dare to look him in the eye at all. I just carefully opened the menu. Oliver pointed everywhere with his finger, and I ticked everywhere. Are you a pig? Eating so much, aren't you really afraid of stuffing yourself to death? It's possible that my scolding was too full of resentment. I felt that Oliver had been staring at me. A chill ran down my back. Subconsciously, I looked up at him. The moment our eyes met, I knew he had recognized me. Don't call my name. Please, don't call my name. At school, everyone is a student. Only after leaving school do some unequal identities become obvious. I really hate the way they look me up and down. Oliver twitched the corner of his mouth, as if he could see what was on my mind through my eyes. Don't say it. Please. But the next second, Matthew? Why didn't you tell us you were working here? With a thunderous sound, I felt a bit dizzy in front of my eyes. My back was numb. I didn't dare to look into other people's eyes. I didn't dare to listen carefully to what they were saying. It's nothing more than something like, Matthew? I know him, the one who still wears clothes that are washed white. Or maybe, Matthew? Why are you working as a waiter here? Are you doing so poorly? I took a few steps back. James and Liam also looked up when they heard it was me. Matthew, why are you here? Ask. What's there to ask? You're doing it on purpose, aren't you? You've clearly seen it but still ask. You just want to make me look bad. I really don't want to force a smile, but for the sake of work, I still managed a smile that looked worse than crying. I hate it. 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 I saw several people with their heads down, whispering to each other. I glanced over there a few more times and thought darkly in my heart that they must be speaking ill of me. Otherwise, why would they invite me to eat together? There must be something even worse waiting for me if I stay. It was already 9 o'clock when I got back to the dorm after work. I got a shock when I turned on the light. James was just sitting there upright in his seat without turning on the light. I looked up and realized that I had forgotten to close the bed curtain when I left after taking a nap at noon. Wait a minute, where is the skirt I changed out of that night? Suddenly, the floating comments in the void popped up. Poor baby is doomed. He's been discovered by that goo dog. That goo dog is probably a sports student. Baby Xiaotang definitely can't handle it. My pupils shrank sharply, and I found that the skirt was really in James' hand. 1. The smooth hem of the skirt, who knows how it had been treated, was all wrinkled and wet. Before my mind could react, I had already reached out to twist the doorknob and prepared to run away. Unfortunately, I was still one step too late. James quickly pounced on me and held me down. The doorknob pressed against my vulnerable abdomen, and the pain was almost unbearable for me. What are you doing? It hurts. 1 second James was worried that I would run away, and the next second he quickly turned me around. He frowned and looked me up and down. Where does it hurt? After looking, he was still sarcastic. You didn't even get bumped or knocked. How delicate you are. Just now it really hurt badly, and tears were hanging at the corners of my eyes, about to fall but not yet. Now being disliked again. I was so angry that I couldn't hold back and slapped him. The light slap landed on James' face. I regretted it right after I hit him. I quickly put my hands behind my back and also wanted to take a few steps back, but there was the door behind me, and I had nowhere to retreat. James' eyes turned fierce. You hit me? I stammered. It was you who hurt me first. James just looked at me like this. I thought he also wanted to slap me. After looking at me for a while, he reached into his trouser pocket, took out his phone and started typing. My phone in my pocket was also vibrating one after another. He confirmed something before speaking. Is it you, Matthew? Yes, yes, yes. You already know, so why are you still asking? But I didn't say anything. I'm afraid he'll ask me to return the money. Thinking of this, I began to feel belatedly afraid. 1. I raised my hand and tugged at his corner of the clothes. Not daring to look at him, I stared at the ground and said, You said it was a voluntary gift yourself. I didn't ask you to give me the money. James seemed to be amused by me. Did I tell you to say this? He pinched my face and lifted it up. What I want to say is, what are you going to do about lying to me? After saying that, he let go of me and sat down on the chair casually, looking at me. It was like a trial. It was really annoying, but I didn't dare to talk back to him. Don't be so fierce. I motioned for him to talk nicely and not use violence. But James stood up again and paced back and forth a couple of times, pointing at his own nose. He said, Me, fierce? Have you ever seen what I'm like when I'm really fierce? How can you say I'm fierce? Are you trying to be coquettish? It's too late. I shrank to one side and listened to him talking to himself. I don't care. You have to compensate me with a boyfriend. I widened my eyes. Compensate for what? But didn't you say that I'm just a little thing? And we're not even in a relationship. James was poked at his sore spot again and raised his voice. You don't care what I said. You have to compensate me right now. I can give you money. Don't you like money the most? I'll give you money to date me. I wrinkled my face, thinking that James seemed to be driven crazy by me. Two guys dating? That's just too strange. I shook my head. No. James was furious again. Since that night, James rarely returned to the dormitory. Occasionally, he would just come back to pick up some things. He basically didn't run into me, as if he was avoiding me. I was really afraid that James would tell the other two out of anger, so I gritted my teeth and deleted Oliver and Liam. Anyway, I got quite a lot from them. I only added these 3 on my secondary account. Now that I've deleted them all, it'll be quiet. When I was sound asleep at night, my phone kept vibrating. I squinted my eyes and opened it. They were all messages from James, sent to my primary account. Matthew, don't be so heartless. Don't think I'll come to find you. Just dream on. He sent a voice message after a 5-minute pause. Matthew, I won't come to find you. Judging from the voice, he seemed to be drunk and throwing a tantrum. Then he sent a bunch of similar words in a flurry. The bullet comments were scrolling very fast. What kind of celestial beings conversation is this? Is he having a mental battle? It's a bit interesting. I already had a bad case of morning grumpiness. I got bolder out of anger and planned to scold him a few words while he was drunk. Transfer 100,000 yuan to you. There was also a note. Voluntarily gifted. My morning grumpiness disappeared all of a sudden. James sent a bunch more messages, but I ignored them and turned on the mute function. After receiving the money, I went back to sleep blissfully. After his drunken outburst, James moved back to the dormitory. He likes to hang around me all the time and talks a lot of nonsense. I'm the kind of person who takes advantage and then gets pushy. Seeing that James wasn't very angry, I just ignored him. Oliver and Liam both seem to be in a bad mood recently. When seeing James acting weirdly and hovering around me, I didn't show any signs of confusion. After he went out and came back, he was carrying a big box of stuff. Matthew, come here. I took a glance and saw that the box was full of wrapped items, which seemed to be clothes and shoes. There were even a few skirts. Is James a pervert? He gave a light cough and said, "They're all for you. Do you like them?" I looked inside and found that they were all big brands. Are they all free for me? I looked at him with a burning gaze. Being stared at directly by me, James glanced away unnaturally. His voice was a bit flustered and angry. Do you want them? You keep asking. If you don't want them, I'll give them to someone else. I quickly picked up the box and put it on the seat, ignoring his loud voice. I basically never logged in to the small account I used before again. At noon, the courier suddenly called me and said there was a courier for me in the north of the city. These days, James is keen on buying couriers for me, but they are all sent to the school. I suspect he filled in the wrong address. The north of the city is a bit far from the school. I didn't take the subway there until the sun set in the afternoon. Although it was afternoon, I still sweated all over when squeezing the subway. I slowly entered the courier station, turned on my phone and took out the pick-up code. There were still many people picking up parcels here, so we all had to find our own parcels and then receive them. What I didn't notice was that there was a slender man leaning inside the courier station, and his eyes kept wandering on me. After picking up the parcels, I walked along the small path to the subway station. It didn't get dark very fast these days, but I was still a bit nervous walking on the small path alone. After walking a few steps, I heard footsteps behind me. Matthew! I suddenly looked back. Liam! I was stunned. Did he call me Matthew? The more you say, the more mistakes you'll make. After what happened with James, I became smarter. I closed my mouth and waited for him to speak first. But Liam seemed quite angry. It's really you? I pretended to be stupid. What do you mean by, it's me? Liam gasped a few times. You're still pretending. Suddenly I remembered that this courier was a trap set by Liam for me. Before, he said he had bought a pair of shoes that were too small, but the shoe size was just right for me. So I lied to him and said I could give them to my cousin. Actually, I wanted to wear them secretly myself. Then I asked him to fill in the express station in the north of the city. This express delivery was bought by him, and he also knows my other mobile phone number. He did it just to fish me out. What a scheming man. I thought he would be furious, scold me for lying to him, and then beat me up. But he just frowned and asked me, "Why did you delete me?" When he asked this question, he seemed very reluctant. His face turned pale and then dark. I thought for a while and answered his previous question. Because I don't want to pretend anymore? I secretly breathed a sigh of relief in my heart. It seems that James didn't tell him about chatting with me. Liam still seems unable to accept that the person he had been chatting with for so long was me. With a dark face, he rushed forward all at once. Halfway through, he stopped, clicked his tongue, and looked back. Are you coming or not? The express delivery Liam bought wasn't small either. I really couldn't carry it on the way. In the end, he still took it back to the dormitory with a stinky face. He didn't say a word to me on the way back, acting like a temperamental young lady. The box was placed on my desk. I focused all my attention on the express delivery and planned to go to the toilet after opening it. I didn't notice that Liam closed the door. When I was halfway through opening the package with my butt sticking out, Liam had already pressed against my back. What are you do? Liam swept all the things on the table to one side with one hand, grabbed me with both hands, and lifted me onto the table. What a crazy guy. I wanted to get off but was blocked by him with his hands on the edge of the table. Being lifted and placed like this made me even more eager to go to the toilet. He easily restrained me. Were all the photos you showed me of yourself? I pursed my lips, trying to deceive him, but he saw through me right away. Tell the truth. You'll end up badly if you lie to me. I shivered again. I know exactly what kind of person Liam is in the dormitory. If he's unhappy, no one else can be happy either. Holding back my urge to pee, I whispered, yes, they were of myself. My words really hit the spot with him. He took a look and pretended not to believe me. You have to let me examine it. I looked up in surprise. Check what? Can it be checked just because you say so? You're a pervert. Liam didn't care whether I was willing or not. He lowered his head and saw that I was pressing my legs tightly together. Why are you pressing your legs together? Trying to seduce me? Seduce you, my ass. I couldn't quite understand Liam's look in his eyes. It was as if he wanted to devour me. I really couldn't hold it in anymore. My eyes were red from holding back. I want to go to the toilet. What? I don't know if he is really deaf or just pretending. I gritted my teeth and repeated it again. I want to go to the toilet. After I finished speaking, Liam looked as if he had suddenly realized something. Looking curious, he reached out and pressed my stomach. This press was no small matter. It was so stimulating that I let out a soft cry. At the same time, the dormitory door was opened. James stood at the door with a gloomy face, and his angry voice came, "What are you doing?" James rushed up, pulled Liam away, and punched him in the face. I jumped off the table and went to the toilet. When I came out again, both of them were bruised. James, you male home wrecker, don't you have any shame? Trying to seduce someone else's wife. Liam was so angry that he laughed. It's really you who knows you're the third party but still does it. I'm the legal spouse. Oh no, I always feel that if they keep chatting, something unspeakable will come out. Unable to out-argue each other, they both turned to look at me. You tell us, who is the third party? You are all the other women/men in the relationship. I don't really want to answer their question. Their actions are so different from what I thought. I thought they would fly into a rage and then take revenge on me. Now it seems like a fight between primary school kids. They don't seem very smart. James has a fiery temper and talks a lot. I'm telling you, I've been in an online relationship with Matthew for a long time. You didn't even know where you were at that time. You also secretly said that Matthew doesn't look like a real man and is good at seducing people. These two sentences really upset Liam. Are you talking about me? Do you think your own mouth is something very clean? I don't know who said that Matthew still wears clothes that have been washed hundreds of times. As they were talking, they seemed to remember something important. The two of them pointed at each other simultaneously and said in unison, "An online relationship? With him?" They stared at me without blinking. I turned my head away. I didn't really want to talk to them. The fire of the argument just now died out quickly. James knew he had said something wrong and didn't focus on the online relationship topic anymore. He squatted beside me and helped me pack up the express deliveries. Sorry, Matthew. I shouldn't have said that to you before. I really didn't mean to look down on you. It's just that I have a sharp tongue. You can hit me. I ignored him. He squatted on the ground, feeling distressed for a long time and didn't know what to do. Finally, he had a rare moment of inspiration and transferred money to me. I pursed my lips and looked at it for a while but didn't accept it. Only then did James realize and sent a message saying it was a voluntary gift. My eyes flashed, and then I quickly accepted it. James rubbed against my shoulder as if seeking credit. Liam beside me was extremely envious. He also imitated what James did. Matthew, I'm also making a voluntary gift. James was speechless and gave a cold snort. Copycat. Liam was not willing to be outdone. So what? Being able to imitate is also a skill. The two of them kept chattering beside me. It was so noisy. I was sitting on the chair, scrolling through videos. When Liam saw that I was watching game videos, he offered to buy me an account with full-level skins and equipment. A full-level skin account. I immediately changed my cold attitude towards him. Really? Seeing that I took the initiative to talk to him, Liam was a bit excited. Of course. It's not expensive. Seeing this, James also wasn't willing to be outdone and leaned over. Matthew, let me buy you a new phone. It's just come out. As this guy was talking, he was almost clinging to me. Pursed my lips. It's free, so why not? Okay. James grinned and bought me a phone. After that, he started staring at me. What are you doing? I shouted at him loudly. James is really impolite. He wasn't angry. There was even a flattering look in his eyes. I took advantage of the situation. You're so hot. Stay away from me. James seemed not to expect that he had just spent money to buy a phone but was treated like this. His face suddenly turned black. Only then did I realize what I had done. I quickly shrank back. James is very strong and his punches hurt. I just bought you a phone and you're shouting at me? His voice was very loud. Covered my ears. Why are you being so fierce to me? My voice isn't even as loud as yours. Besides, I didn't ask you to buy me a phone. I don't want it anymore. I felt like I had suffered an unwarranted disaster. Extremely angry, I clenched my fist and aimed at James' face. Unexpectedly, it was blocked. His hand was very big. He held my hand and brought it close to his nose. While sniffing forcefully, he apologized. Sorry, Matthew. I was wrong. I shouldn't have shouted at you. Do you want a new computer? I'll buy it for you. Damn pervert, James. Although he's a pervert, who can resist the temptation of a new computer? I stretched out my other hand and said without any burden, buy it for me. To be honest, Liam and James are really good ATMs. This is my highest evaluation of them. These days, I almost have the feeling that I can throw a tantrum on their heads and still be praised. These two guys must be out of their minds. In the evening, Liam and James had something to attend to and had to go to the meeting on site. I went to the second floor of the cafeteria to get a bowl of spicy hot pot and went back to the dormitory. On the way, Oliver came back. I glanced at him and continued eating. I always felt he was looking at me, but I had no evidence. I peeked at him several times but found nothing unusual. The alarm bell in my head kept ringing. I planned to take a stroll after finishing the last few bites. I'd come back after Liam and the others finished the meeting. Before I could take the next action, the lights in the dormitory flashed a few times and then went out. I still had a few pieces of beef in my mouth that I hadn't swallowed. It was pitch black around, and there were footsteps behind me. I suddenly stood up from the chair. I moved so fast that the chair made a shrill sound on the ground. Oliver, he didn't answer, grabbed me and pushed me onto the table with my hand reversed. I'm really fed up. Everyone in the dormitory is a mad dog. I kicked him with my leg and said, are you crazy? I've really been spoiled by James and the others. I'm even daring to scold Oliver now. The leg that was kicking was restrained. The burning breath hit my earlobe, with a strong smell of alcohol. So, did you choose them too and abandon me? What? He got even closer to me. I'm saying, you only abandoned me, right? I don't know what you're talking about. Oliver is really annoying. Annoying? Annoying? So annoying. He sighed and leaned on my shoulder. Don't know what I'm talking about? He picked up my hand and slapped his face again and again with it. I don't know if his face hurts, but my hand feels like it's going to break. Why don't you want me? Hey, why are you using my hand to hit yourself? It hurts so much. A shout finally woke Oliver up. He was like waking up from a dream and pressed against my hot palm. Did it hurt? I'm sorry, baby. A cool and soft touch pressed on my palm. He was kissing me. Quickly pulled my hand back. Oliver, are you having an episode? I swear I really just asked this question out of pure curiosity. He was silent for a while. You're avoiding the question. Me? Avoiding the question? Is he insinuating that I don't want to take responsibility? I pushed him and said, yes, I'm avoiding it. It's only been a few months. I've gone from the lowest ranked in the dorm to being above the other three. But actually, it was kind of forced. Mainly because James is so sarcastic. Liam is easily out-talked by me, and I just don't want to talk to Oliver on purpose. James likes to buy me things, and then he likes to make some really excessive requests. Matthew, are you happy that I bought you so many things? Looking at the emptied shopping cart, I was really quite happy. Seeing me nod, James excitedly leaned in. 1. I've behaved so well. Can I get a little reward? What kind of reward? He stared directly at my mouth, looking not the least bit embarrassed. Can I kiss you? He fixed his eyes on my furrowed brows. He quickly added, I'll be very gentle and won't make you uncomfortable. Before I could say a word, I was interrupted by Oliver with a gloomy face. Gently? Do you even believe what you're saying? 1. Suddenly, I remembered asking Liam to fetch noodles from the cafeteria on a sweltering day a few days ago. I was in such a hurry to eat that I got scalded. Liam quickly reached out to check my mouth. As he was looking, something seemed off about him. He got closer and closer, gasping and about to kiss me. Fortunately, James punched him awake. James looked at Oliver unkindly and said, "Do you think you're a good person? Didn't you want to hold Matthew down and kiss him until his mouth was full of your taste? What is this fool talking about? He really is being insolent." I gave him a hard kick. "If you keep talking nonsense, I won't talk to you anymore." James was really scared because Liam had already experienced this treatment before. "I won't say it anymore. Don't be angry." He tapped on his phone with both hands. I snorted, curled my lips, and accepted the transfer. Oliver always followed me when others were not around. "Why are you following me?" "I'm going to work, not to play." He still kept silent. I was really puzzled. Usually, these family heirs were extremely busy, but now they suddenly became idle. He reached out and snatched my backpack. "I'll take you there." I looked at him suspiciously for a while. Well, if he wanted to follow, then so be it. Anyway, I got paid while he didn't, so for the whole afternoon, I stood at the milk tea shop, while he leisurely ordered a cup of milk tea and sat in the shop enjoying the air conditioning. Since Oliver was so famous at school, many people took pictures, from 1 to 10, and from 10 to 100, many people rushed to the milk tea shop just to take a look at him. This indirectly led to a sharp increase in the milk tea shop sales. I was a part-timer, getting only a fixed salary without any commission. In the afternoon, there were only 3 of us. My hands were so sore from shaking. The invoice machine was still spitting out receipts. I couldn't bear it anymore and rushed out. "What's wrong?" I rolled up my sleeves. "How can you even ask what's wrong? You'd better leave quickly, or don't blame me for punching you." Finally, I managed to drive Oliver away. As soon as he left, the receipt printer hardly moved anymore. When I got off work, Oliver suddenly popped up from somewhere, holding bright red flowers and a hard-to-buy small cake in his hands. I took 2 steps closer before I realized that the flowers were folded from RMB. The smile on the corner of my mouth was about to break free again. "These flowers are very beautiful." Oliver knows me very well. After handing the flowers to me, he took out his phone and started to transfer money skillfully, just like me. I picked up my phone and saw that he had transferred 200,000. I originally wanted to transfer 520,000, but there's a limit on my personal card and I couldn't transfer that much. That's too bad. I pretended to be calm, hugged the flowers and turned around. I couldn't hold back my smile right away. So much money. One day before leaving school for the summer vacation, I still got up early to pack my things. I have to take a train to get back to the village, and then transfer several times. Leaving early and arriving at night would be just right. Seeing me packing up, the other 3 people also started to pack. First, I didn't think much of it, but what does it mean that we're all sitting at the train station in the end? "Are you guys going for a trip?" Liam looked serious. "Yeah, it's boring to stay at home all summer." I said "oh" and lowered my head to log into the game. When I looked up again, the train station started checking tickets. I slept like a log on the train all the way. It was already 8 o'clock in the evening when I arrived at the final transfer. At 8 o'clock, the lights in the village were all on, making it brightly lit. "Everything has been packed up." There came a murmur of voices outside the door. It sounded like the aunt next door was giving directions. I washed my face and prepared to tidy up and go to bed. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. "Who is it?" "It's me, Ava. Coming." As soon as the door opened, there was Ava's smile. She stepped back a few steps to make way and said, "These young men said they were here to find you." I looked towards the back. 3 people stood neatly in a row. "Didn't you say you were going to play?" The 3 tall men are now as silent as quails, not daring to say a word. I sneered and said, "Were you following me? What? Do you think I took your things or stole your money?" James felt as if his ID had been read out, and he shivered all over. "And no, we just wanted to come over and have some fun." I remained expressionless. "Oh, coming to play in this village that hasn't even been developed as a scenic area? That's quite an interesting life." Liam put down the things he was carrying and took out a very exquisitely packaged dessert from his school bag. You must be tired after sitting in the car for so long today. I brought this specially for you. Try it. I looked at the cake. I had never eaten it before. It looked quite expensive. I sat on the bench with the cake in my hand, eating it while watching them tidy up. They were really being so impolite by just integrating their things into my home. You're not planning to sleep here, are you? Oliver stopped his hand while putting things down. We checked when we came. There are no places to stay around here. I ignored him. This was my territory. I knew very well whether there were any hotels or not. In the end, I couldn't possibly drive these 3 people out. I was the only one at home, and there were no extra beds. They had to sleep on the floor. They still looked very enthusiastic. When I woke up in the morning, it was almost noon. As soon as I opened my eyes, I felt something was wrong. There were many more things in the room, and it was very tidy. Liam walked in wearing a black vest. I don't know if it was because he had carried something heavy, but the veins on his arms were very prominent. Are you awake? Come and have breakfast quickly. I rubbed my eyes and saw the breakfast I often ate in the dormitory on the old wooden table. These 3 people are truly remarkable. Sure enough, money can make the world go round. Oliver also brought several bags of snacks that I usually like. I picked out some to give to Ava next door. As soon as I left, the 3 men also trotted after me. Ava invited us into the house to sit down, but I waved my hand. Let's not sit. In case these 3 people start arguing and fighting again, it'll be quite unsightly. Here, Mateo, have this. Kids all like snacks. Ava took my hand and said, I wanted to ask you last night, how have you been since you haven't been back for so long? Can you eat and sleep well? I smiled. Before I could reply, Liam interrupted. Don't worry, Ava. Matthew can eat and sleep well. Ava looked me up and down. You've really put on weight. You look better than before, said in front of the 3 men. I felt a bit embarrassed. Well, you don't know. When Matthew was a kid, he lost his parents. He had a strong sense of self-esteem and wouldn't eat what others gave him, only mine. Ava, why are you telling them all this? I didn't even dare to look at the people standing behind me. I went home first. I sat on the chair and finished the cake before the 3 men came back. As soon as they came back, I felt that their expressions were off. I can't tell what's wrong with them. It wasn't until James came a bit closer to pour me water that I noticed his face was a bit red. On closer inspection, it looked a bit like he'd been slapped. Who did it? They all kept silent, but I always felt they worked even harder. After finishing what needed to be tidied up, they all started to surround me, asking for rewards. I knew I shouldn't have sympathized with these rascals. College life was quickly coming to an end. All 3 of them openly gave me special treatment and sent me job offers, inviting me to work in their companies. I promised on the surface, but actually secretly bought a plane ticket to Yunnan. I really wanted to go there, but I never had the chance. It is said that it's a great place to settle down. The 3 men were sitting in their respective offices, happily waiting for me to go for an interview just for the formality. It's hard not to suspect that this is just their prank. It was not until I got on the plane that the 3 men realized what was going on. I really just wanted to relax when I came to Yunnan, so I temporarily changed my phone card to avoid the constant ringing. I stayed in a small town in Kunming for a month, without any disturbances. It was really great. Every day, I did what I liked. In the morning, I went out for a walk with the old men in the neighborhood and bought some vegetables on the way back for lunch. At noon, I stayed at home, munching on snacks and watching anime. If I don't want to cook at night, I'll go to the night market stalls to buy grilled skewers. I'm carrying a bag full of grilled skewers, walking while thinking about what anime to watch later. It seems that there's a popular Chinese anime recently called Immortal Reborn, and it has a good reputation. While thinking, I took out the key from my pocket to open the door, and found that the door seemed wrong. Someone has been inside. I took back the key that was half inserted, quietly stepped back a few steps, and planned to run downstairs and then call the police. The person behind the door rushed out and suddenly grabbed my waist. Why are you running? The warm light from inside the house spilled onto the corridor. 3 men stood in front of me. It's them. I couldn't help smiling, then quickly straightened my lips. Who told you to come? How annoying. Then I rushed into the house without saying a word. I couldn't hold back my smile any longer. Looking back, I saw they were still standing outside. Are you going to eat or not? I'm starving. Only then did they come to their senses. Coming. The long, unseen Damaku scrolled with the last message. Yeah. Happy ending.